Namaste.
Good evening, Guruji.
Good evening. Can you hear us?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Guruji. Yes.
Good evening, Guruji.
Oh, Suketu, you look very impressive.
Oh, thanks, Guruji.
It's good to know that you're back to form.
Yeah.
I'm trying with a new camera, so that's why it's all this, brightness and all confusing.
Guruji.
Hari Om. So, who's going to do the prayers today? Am I recording it? No, I'm not recording it. 1 second.
Yes, Guruji. Recording is on.
Is it on?
Recording, yeah.
Okay. How many participants? 33. Okay. So, shall we start with the prayer?
Guruji, I will do. Om Gajananam Bhuta Ganadi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Falasara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Pada Pankajam Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budaya Cha Guru Shukra Shanibhyascha Rahave Ketave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you. Okay. So, what is the topic today? Pronouncing the topic is difficult, I think, right? Prioritizing.
Guiding the astrology rules, sir.
Yeah. So, can anybody try to explain the topic? What are we trying?
Which rules we have to give more weightage and like that, sir.
Okay. Which to give less? Okay.
Yeah.
This is your chance to use the chat. Whatever comes to your mind. In the order, you can type 1 dot this, second this, third this, something, whatever comes to your mind. And meanwhile, those of you who want to give us direct inputs, like you want to communicate with us directly. Am I too loud?
No, sir.
Hello?
No, Guruji, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine, is it? Okay.
It is fine.
On my interface, it shows red. So, okay. So, I mean, it can be your opinion anyway, right? That's what you're going to say. This is my opinion. This is the most important rule. I'll give weightage. When you say I'll give more weightage, you please compare it with something else immediately. Okay. I'll give more weightage to this than that. Each one, just one point. Raise your hand. Be ready with your point. Once you finish your point, please spend time typing it out. Okay, so that's very important. We need to document it for because we are going to always use the chat. And I'm sorry, show the chat at the end of the video. Okay. Don't worry even if you're wrong, because whatever you're going to say is still an astrological point only. It's only about prioritizing. Okay. Priority. Which one is more important than that, or than this, or that? Or sometimes you can extend this to even saying, I would give more importance to this yoga more than that, if you know of some yogas.
Guruji, I just joined in. You're asking what combinations we would first see?
In a horoscope, which rule you will give more weightage
important.
than the other? Than the other. It's always than the other. Instead of this, I will give importance to that. I mean, just to get started, I'll tell you, will you give more weightage to Antardasha or Dasha? Like that. Okay. And it is only an opinion. You need not bother whether it is right or wrong. But whatever you have said, please spend time, type it out in the chat. Let's record it.
Guruji, I've put it on chat. I would see if Jupiter or Venus is exalted or Swagrahi in the Kendras.
But you'll have to wait for your turn because someone else has already, is on the first hand raise. Parvati Ramesh.
Good evening, Guruji. As you stated earlier, any rule that is stated in the first 2 or 3 shlokas of BPHS is more important, holds more true and more weightage than what comes in the later shlokas.
Okay. So is this with regard to chapter or as it begins something, as you begin to say something, the Maharshi says something and then you'll say whatever he says first is more important than the rest?
Yes, Guruji. When you start reading about any particular aspect, suppose lords in various houses or what happens, then the first few lines of the chapter or the shlokas.
Okay, whatever comes first.
What comes first is more important.
Surely, this is a very nice point. What comes first? You know why? What comes first is usually without a condition applied. And that means regardless of whatever, it is most likely to happen. Okay, that's a fantastic point. So we had a great start today. Next one, Pavani.
Yes, sir. What is the ascendant and how the planets are distributed in the chart, sir? Whether they are together at one side or...
No, you are giving an approach to reading the chart. You have to say, I would rate this more than that. So you'll have to only speak in those terms.
Rules.
You should compare. I'll say, I'll give weightage to this than that. I would give more weightage to transit than dasha. Something like that. Usually comparison, because what leads us, from the basic onwards. Okay.
Sir, for certain ascendants, there will be Raja Yoga Karaka, sir. So we should check whether it is in good position or not. For some other ascendants, there will be not like a Raja Yoga Karaka. So we have to give more importance to Raja Yoga Karaka planets, whether it is good, nicely placed or not. For Cancer ascendant, Mars. For Taurus, for Cancer and for Leo ascendant, Mars. How is it placed? For
so
Taurus and...
in case, so let's rephrase this. In case, for every Lagna, we don't have a typical Raja Yoga planet, right? We don't have. Only for certain Lagnas we have. So if that particular Graha has gone to Dushtana, we will give more weightage to that fact that the Raja Yoga Karaka, the king amongst the yoga, producing planets, that itself has gone to 6, 8, and 12. So I would rate the horoscope slightly, as weak. And so the other combinations may not work. So I would give more weightage to this. Okay, good point. Okay, please type it out in the shortest way possible in the chat, preferably with your name. Okay. Next is it Karthik?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, first of all, I would give the highest priority to the Mahadasha Lord, which is the Lord of the Mahadasha, which is currently running. And based on the rules written in BPHS, based on that particular Lagna, for that Lagna, the house lordship of the planet and the placement of the planet.
Again, you're giving an approach, but I would rate this stronger than that. I'll give more priority to this than that. So it will be always more to this than that.
More priority to lordship and placement.
Lordship. With what, in what, regarding what?
Regarding the current Mahadasha Lord.
Okay. Right. That is, let's say somebody is going through Shani Shukra. Shukra Shani. I had this experience in the first consultation today. Shukra Dasha, Shani, Antardasha for both the people. And they're saying this is nightmare. Okay. And so, from this point of view, can you rephrase what you want to say?
So in that case, first I will check for that particular, for the person's particular ascendant. How is Shukra, Mahadasha Lord Shukra functional, benefic or malefic or neutral?
Okay.
I will check that first, sir. Then second, I will check what houses, house ownership, I think is related to malefic, functional, malefic or benefic. The next point I will check is placement, where it is placed.
Now we'll have to conclude. I will give more weightage to placement than the logic of functional, benefic or malefic. Can you rephrase something again like this? That is, I would give more weightage to this than that.
I would give more weightage to functional, benefic or malefic more than placement.
That is, you will give more weightage to function than placement.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose you say the Antardasha Nath is in 6, 8 and 12. I would even not give so much importance to that, but I would straight away give more importance to, for this ascendant, these two grahas are functional malefics. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please type it out. Thank you. So who goes next? Prashant.
Yes, sir. I think first of all, I should check what is the Mahadasha and which houses they are connected with nakshatra level. Which nakshatra lord is affecting that dasha and antardasha. That would be the main focus we should start with.
Did you study Krishnamurti Paddhati?
No, sir.
Okay.
Because nakshatra are the main source of any energy to which is manifested through the grahas.
Okay. So Prashant, please document that. So based upon what Prashant said, if subsequently some student wants to discuss a point what others have discussed, you are free to do that. Okay. Okay. Is Prashant done or you have more points? Finished, right? Okay. Then you can mute. Thank you, Prashant. And now Sai Prahlad.
Oh yeah, yes, Guruji. So this is something that we've seen in one of our classes. Now that I would give more importance to lords of houses than necessarily Brihasutram. Because one time you said, there's an analysis where a graha was placed in the 8th house and Jupiter in the 8th, and it would mean that it's a short life. But then when we see from the perspective of lords of houses, in that particular native chart, it was long life, and also the 8th lord was in the 10th, going to the Kendra. So some slokas, although they'll have certain things from the placement of the lords of houses will give more weightage.
Okay, more effect.
Yeah, more effect.
More effect than the actual placement of planets.
Yes, and in terms of Vimshotri.
No, one point. We'll come back once everybody is done. Again, we'll have a hand raise and continue with more points. Okay, this is to encourage more participation. And as a community of students, we would like to do that. Okay, after, now who goes next? Prashant. Is Prashant, has he finished or no? Prashant Sinha. Okay.
Yes, sir, I have finished.
You're done. Okay. So please put down your hand so that it will not show up. Okay. Anand, but next.
Sir, my priority would be first the placement of the Lagna Lord, as he has the power to nullify the negative events and he can exaggerate the positive event. So any positive negative event versus the Lagna Lord, it is like if Lagna Lord is strong and good, then that has to be first priority over everything. Second is the ninth Lord, where we see the Daivanugraha in the chart also. So that is there, it will somehow escape every problems. So Lagna Lord and ninth Lord, give them first priority over everything. A strong Lagna Lord, if the Lagna Lord is weak and there are 100 yogas present, he might not enjoy it to the extent of that the yoga's power might not be released fully.
Okay.
So first Lagna Lord, then ninth Lord, then go for everything else. So
okay. So in priority, I will always look at the first Lord and the ninth Lord, and I will decide so much about the horoscope just based on these two facts.
These are the pillars. So first keep these pillars aside, and based on this decide everything else, which is also Daivanugraha, in other words.
Okay.
So that is one. And one this thing is that over Chandra Kundali and Lagna Kundali, if Lagna is strong, then don't give more weightage to Chandra Kundali is one opinion. Where people also count from moon. So if Lagna Kundali is strong, then don't look at Chandra Kundali, because it will just keep on adding to confusion. All 9 planets will come into picture. So that is where, if Lagna is strong, Lagna Lord is strong, just Lagna Kundali itself, D1 will sufficiently give good amount of information. If moon is there in Lagna, then it is a different story. It is much more powerful, Samagama Lagna. Otherwise, if Lagna is strong, then Chandra Kundali might not show that much effect.
Okay.
These two observations are mine.
Very good. Kishore?
Yes, Guruji. So I'd like to classify the search results in the following format. The first thing is to identify the yogas or doshas and the dashas of the chart. And after that, I will go into the Lagna and the Lagna Lord, the dignity. The reason is, first we need to identify what are the fruits that he's going to get from his past birth and when he's going to enjoy those fruits, whether it's good fruit or bad fruit. And then when we go into the quality of the chart, the assessment will be whether the fruits are going to be fully enjoyed, partially, or absolutely missing. What is the point of enjoying a fruit when it is not? I mean, it will be there in the chart, but the timing will not be there. So the timing, that is the importance of the chart. The first thing is to identify the yogas and the dashas, and then going into the Lagna and importance of the Lagna, as my previous speaker was saying, Anandji was saying, the dignity of the Lagna, the strength of the Lagna, and that will determine whether the chart will enjoy, the Jataka will enjoy the fruits or not. The first thing is identifying the fruits and then identifying the strength.
So fruits are identified from which points?
From basically from yogas and dashas. So negative yogas would be called as doshas. I am not sure, but I think that is what I assume, that yogas and doshas and the dashas which are going to make them come up in the life during the full life of the Jataka. So if there is a problem with marriage and if that's going to happen between 20 to 30, definitely for sure it has to be remedied. But if there's a problem of marriage that cannot be remedied even at the age of 50, then there's no point in going into it. Okay. So that will be determined by the dashas. Favorable dasha, maybe we can have some compromise in the quality of the fruits. Basically, it's all about connection between past life, the fruits that are being promised, and whether they are going to be fully available or partially available, same thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
A lot of points. Next is Deepak.
Guruji, I would give importance to the planet that is present on the ascendant. And then I will give the second importance to the ascendant lord.
Just one last one paper.
And check the Shadbala strength of both, and then come to a conclusion regarding the dignity of the Lagna.
Okay, some of you have been mentioning methodology of reading. It is only today's topic is only. I would give this more weightage than that. Okay. For example, if you say, will we give importance to Shadbala or exaltation, like that? I wanted you to, all of you, to speak on that. Okay. It's okay even if you had given some steps to read a chart. Maybe we'll have another session for how to start reading a horoscope. Definitely we'll do that. So Deepak, you have any other point?
No, Guruji, this is the best.
Okay. Aarti Maheshwari.
Sir, I will give importance to something, if something rare in the chart. If I feel something peculiar is there in the chart, for example, if I see the Sun and the Saturn have exchanged their position, or the Sun is in the Saturn's house, or Saturn is in the Sun's house, then these two houses are destroyed. Most of the factors, most of the things which is associated with these two houses, they are destroyed. So I will look for something peculiar and give importance to those.
Very good.
Maybe.
Has Ramesh finished or?
No, sir.
Yeah. Ramesh
Sir,
Peddad.
yeah. So like Prahalad said, so basically we'll go with the Lord of the houses and where they're placed first, particularly first, fifth, and ninth house lords where they're placed. And then if there are any yoga karkas and how they are placed.
Okay.
And then we'll stack it up, sir. If there are any planets in. Shall I continue, sir?
Can you repeat that statement?
Sure, sir. So first, just like we'll go with the Lord of the houses and where they are placed, particularly first, fifth, and ninth houses, and the Lords.
159.
Yes, sir. And if, depending on the Lagna, if there are any yoga karkas, and how the yoga karkas are placed. And if there are any planets that are affecting 6th, 8th, and 12th houses, the trick houses.
Okay. We'll get back to these points, okay, very soon.
Sure, sir.
So thank you. And next is Uma Devi. I think it is, maybe she's not ready or she's ready.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Or we can.
Sir, actually, I will see the planets placed in Kendra Trikona, sir.
Okay.
Then I will see, check for the Upachaya houses, sir. Suppose any of the planet is debilitated, then I will see if there is at least the aspect of Jupiter or Venus. Hello, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah,
Yes,
Just a minute. Something happened to the speaker on my side. Just hold on. We'll have to repeat what he said. I didn't hear it. Just hold on. Yes. Umadevi, can you repeat that?
Yes, sir. Sir, I will see if the planets placed in Kendra or
Just a
Trikona,
minute.
sir.
Okay. It's not working.
Okay. Okay. I type it out, sir.
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay. Something happened to my AirPods. Okay. You type it out, okay? Sorry about
Okay,
that.
sir.
Not able to
No,
read.
okay. No problem.
Did you say something is more important than the other?
Yes, sir. I give importance to this Kendra and Trikona, sir. Then check for the Upachaya houses, sir.
What do you check?
Planets. What planets are placed in the Upachaya houses?
Or all planets are good in 3, 6, 10, 11?
No, sir. I'll check whether Rahu, Ketu, or Saturn is there. Or
Okay.
suppose Shukla Paksha moon is placed, and then the native is having this moon Mahadasa or Antardasa. Then with that, we will be able to come to a certain conclusion whether this Antardasa will be favorable to that person.
Okay.
I feel Antardasa is more important than Mahadasa, sir.
Okay. So who goes next? Thank you, Uma Devi.
Thank you, sir.
Ashwath Manjunath.
Hello, sir. My take, the very first thing is I look at the Lagna Lord and opening Dasha. And I look at the Dusthana houses, if any planets place.
Yeah, again, you please understand, you're giving the method of reading a chart. We are only focusing on, I would give more importance to this than to that.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I give importance to Lagna and Lagna Lord's Lagna's dignity. And then Dusthana houses, if it's connected to any auspicious houses. Then Dasha, yeah. That is important.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Don't do any calculation here. Just do it mentally, okay? These two numbers you add, this 13 and 8, and you have to put the number here on the top. So like this, you add the bottom two numbers and put the total on the top. With this much information, can you fill up the entire brick? Try to do it in the mind. Don't have to actually do it. This is the method. Is it solvable or not solvable? If somebody says it's solvable, please immediately say it's solvable. Or if you feel it is not solvable, you just say not solvable.
Sir, I didn't get the point, sir.
Solvable, sir.
It is solvable. Okay. Even though so many bricks are empty.
Sir, we need few more numbers on the left, sir.
Yeah, you need few more numbers on the left. How many of you feel please type it out. We need more numbers on the left. Otherwise, how can I complete it? Uma Devi did not understand this. So let me say, can you see where my mouse pointer is?
Yes, sir. Yes,
this
sir.
number will be these two added here. Okay. This one will be addition of 13 plus 8.
Okay, sir.
That's all. Like this, you'll have to fill up the entire block. And only this much is given. Some students have raised the possibility we need something on the left-hand side. Otherwise, how can I complete it?
I think you use the right side to go all the way till the top, and then you come back for the left side. You should be able to solve it.
21, sir. So to get 41,
yeah, I want, as soon as you find a methodology, you please type it out. Just your name. Anyway, it will show up your name in the chat. And just type how many of you feel you need more numbers on the left-hand side? Because the left-hand side is almost blank. So it looks like we won't be able to do it, right? Okay, all of you put down your hands and raise your hand only if you feel that there's no need for more numbers. I can do it with just this number. I see some hand raise. Ramesh Pedati, please explain how you can do it. If this hand raise is for this.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Okay, please put down your hands in case this is not, you want to, So, Sridevi, you want to say something?
Oh, sorry, sir. Like I raised for the earlier question.
Okay.
Sir, I didn't hand raise. Let me hand raise. But I think I solved it. Given what you mentioned, sir, you said the 13 plus 8 will be the first square on the rightmost, right? The green one.
Here.
So that means yeah. So does it 13 plus 8 is 21? So
Okay, in that case, just give me some time. I will write the number here. Sorry, this is not the color I would choose. 21. Okay.
Yeah. And to get 41, is the rule 21 plus x will give 41? Is that how the problem should be solved? Because if that is the case, I got the numbers, sir.
Yeah. So what comes here?
20. 20, sir.
So
Sorry,
you get 20 here, right? Because 20 plus 21 is 41.
Yeah. So I can read out the numbers that I got.
So you finished the entire thing?
Yeah, I did it based on that rule. I mean, if I understood the problem correctly, I did it, sir. So now,
Whether you understood the problem correctly, how do I know?
yeah, that's why I wanted to go back.
No, the simple rule is whatever is the cube above in between two blocks will be the sum total of both.
And also total should be 173, sir.
And the next number is 7, sir, for the last row between 14 and 7.
Yeah. So I solved that.
Where here is it?
Between 14 and
7
plus 13.
7.
Again 21.
Is 50,
on the green
15.
one, 21.
And the last number?
It should be 173, I think, sir.
70.
40, another 41, sir. In the pink
41
block.
above that.
Block.
41 here, is it?
Yeah, middle pink block, sir.
And then
82.
it's 50 on the leftmost, sir.
Then 82
50
here.
82, sir. Yeah.
And 91. So I think all of us told the right same things, but I solved that. So it's possible to solve, sir, just to let you know.
This one?
Yes, correct. I got that.
Okay.
Any row total is 173, sir. So we can easily solve.
Okay. Is it? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
No, sir,
that's
no,
correct.
it is not correct. Not 173. The last row addition will not be 173.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the rule, but yeah.
No. The rule is only, see, the rule is if I want this number, it will be at the bottom two squares will be there. Whatever is addition of that should be there. That's all. This is only one line rule. Yeah.
Yeah, then that what you have on the screen is correct. That's exactly what I got.
Okay.
Yeah, we can solve.
సో ఆ బ్రెడ్ తీసుకోక అది చూయిగా ఉన్నది మీకు తెలియట్లేదేమో అది మైదాపిండి ప్యూర్లీ.
శ్రీదేవి, you can mute.
సారీ.
Your words will become history. If I don't edit it, I hope I'll remember to edit that.
Sorry about this, sir.
Yeah.
It was on 45 minutes timeline, Guruji.
Yeah. Thank you for noting that. Using this chart of the world famous Osho, say something about this person and say, see, this is why we should give more importance to this than that. Obviously, we're not going to talk about Dasha and Antardasha.
First Lord placement, sir.
First Lord is where?
The 8th house.
So what do you think about the horoscope?
Sudden transformation. Sudden transformation.
Not a long life.
No, it's not that fair. It's not that good to go to Dushtana, sir. First Lord.
Sir, sudden transformation, sir.
Is this person big or small or medium?
Medium, sir.
So we have a situation of, given a problem, we could come up with so many answers. First, understanding the problem itself took all of you so much time. And you made very vague statements like, if I understood this right, if I got your, if this is what you want us to do, and so on. I've told very clearly something which is at the bottom 2 squares. You add up, you always get the top one above it. How can there be any doubt about that? Okay. Why did I show that chart was, in maths, we cannot have doubts. In astrology, we can, because of its complex nature and about human life itself. Human life is so complex, but not in maths. And some of you said you need more numbers on the left-hand side because it looks so vague. How can I do it with just few numbers like this and fill up the entire block, all the blocks? In the beginning, somebody said if Lagna Lord is in the 8th house, or it has to be well placed. Is this Lagna Lord well placed?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
With the Lagna Lord, where the Lagna Lord place it, the Lord of that house is exalted.
Also, his Yogakaraka Saturn is 8th house, sir.
Yogakaraka is also in the 8th house. So he must be very,
everything else is.
So he must be a very ordinary person, right?
Guruji, Yogakaraka in the 8th is good. I mean, you'll get wealth from other people.
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, I'm hearing my own voice. You'll have to minimize the speaker volume. Okay.
9th Lord and 8th also gives similar result where other people on that particular Antardasha, they get wealth. I've tested the same combination with a couple of charts.
So do we have fixed rules, or are we going to change rules and say, according to my experience, I feel this is dependable? I can, because I have in my horoscope some collections. Or should we give importance to the fact he's got his 9th Lord Bhagyadipati in the 8th house?
Sir, regardless of, I mean, I don't have the experience about this kind of chart, sir, but what I can say is, whatever the dasha that is there in the 8th house, the remaining only 2 planets are like Jupiter and Sun. They are like 8 and 12 from those dasas.
Now, my point is, don't get carried away by Osho's horoscope, okay? because we know Osho very well.
Maybe he is famous, sir, but the life will not be that happy, sir.
So in what context are we going to say somebody is successful or not? Somebody's horoscope is strong or not?
It depends upon what they are thinking, sir.
What they are thinking or what we are thinking?
What they are thinking, what they wanted in their life.
So please put on your hands. I can still see 3 hand raise. Uma Devi, Aarti and Nagaraj. So to explain Osho's life, can you say I would now give more importance to this than that?
The Lord of the Eighth is well placed and exalted.
We can say the distribution of planets.
You say whatever you want, free for all. Now, see, in the beginning, without a chart, you said, I would use it like this. I will say like this. This is the priority. So this is a chart of a very famous person.
Dispositor of 5 planets, Jupiter is exalted, Guruji.
The dispositor of so many grahas, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, Moon, Venus, all of them is exalted. But in the beginning, when we spoke about priority, did anybody speak this?
I partially mentioned like despite something going to the 8th house, the Lord has to be checked, our Lord.
That house Lord, dispositor. Okay.
Sir,
Can we still hold on? Can we still hold on to the fact that planet's place in the 8th is bad?
No.
No, sir. It brings sudden transformation.
The 8th house is still a trick house, sir. It might work for some people, but mostly it will not.
It has some positive points also. This house is more trick and more of all the things that a man will not need. It has some positive aspects to it also, like transformation and money from different sources that you can't reveal, like some hidden kind of money or stock market or like how he earned.
All his wealth was revealed, right? At one point in his ashram, there were 60 Rolls Royce lined up.
Sir, somewhere or the other, there will be some negative aspect that will show up if it is related to the 8th
Were
house.
also there. So much scandals because of the 8th house Venus and Saturn and
The negative side is like he was sick, he was intoxicated, he was taking some drugs possibly to overcome his pain or challenges, and he also had a medium span of life, not a long life. So all those, and he also wanted to kill himself a lot. Those are the negatives that have come from this.
He had suicidal tendencies.
Yeah.
Lord and 8th and 8th Lord and 3rd, that combinations.
Can we make a statement? Can we make a statement like since the 8th house gives both positives and negatives, depends on the dispositor where it brings the positives or the negatives during those dashas.
Sir, and most of his fame came during the Jupiter dasha, sir. And Jupiter is exalted in Arudha Lagna.
See, exalted in Arudha Lagna means that if there's Jupiter in Arudha Lagna in 1 or 7, the person will be very famous even after death. So that Jupiter being there is why we are still talking about him today.
Sir, whose chart is this, sir?
It is,
I just missed it.
it is retrograde Jupiter. One added point.
Sir, Guruji always said retrograde is strong.
Sir, here in this chart, Saturn and Moon are together. This is also one of the combination for spirituality, because being Saturn and Moon together, they will suffer a lot if he has lead a normal life. So it's better to go for being a spiritual life than a normal human life. Saturn and Moon must be very close, sir. The degree of Saturn and Moon.
Saturn 28 and 22. Can see, no, Saturn 28 and Moon is at 22. Yeah, they're still close only. One way to find out how close they are is in the Bhava chart, they stay together, right? In the 8th. I mean, some planets went backwards.
Yes,
For example, Mars went backwards, but Sun stayed in the same place. Sun is in the 7th.
Yes, sir.
Sir, just there is one point, sir, which I have studied somewhere. There it says that if Jupiter is retrograde, that too, especially in Karka, they say that we have to look at the speed of the Jupiter. If it is like more than 12 to 13 minutes, then it gives a special effect, and that planet takes the monopoly over everything, which is like Paramatichari. So
very fast. It's going very fast.
So it gives the result of that will be that that person will be one of his kind. So there will be no other person like him in that area or in that field. So it gives that result.
But one planet is enough.
One planet is enough to take. It can be negative or it can be positive also. But if it is in that, it happens like once in 35 to 36 years, where Jupiter goes like till 15, I believe. So if it is that case, then that one planet is enough to take to that level or give that uniqueness to that person.
Another thing is Jupiter is also his Atma Karaka.
And almost all the grahas are in Jupiter houses or Rashi.
Yeah.
And sir, for Sannyasa Yoga, if it is happening through 8th, then it is like a Hatha Sannyasa Yoga. 9th is Bhakti Sannyasa Yoga. So, so there is a 8th house aspect when it comes to Sannyasa, that Vairagya. If it is 9th, then that there will be more of Bhakti in that sannyasi, like maybe like Sringeri Jagadguru or someone. Or if it is like Saturn in 8th and 12th combination, then somewhere like Naga Sadhus, like that. So in sannyasi also different categories. If it is happening from 8th, then it is a Vairagya sannyasa.
So in that case, can we say the most important thing in a horoscope reading is to know the background of the person?
Yes, sir. Lagna Lord, based on Lagna Lord, yes.
No, not Lagna Lord. If you use the Lagna Lord theory, the Lagna Lord is in the 8th house.
Correct, sir.
Okay. And it is occupying the house of Jupiter.
So, but Lagna Lord is the one who tells the background of that person, sir, why he is born, basically.
Now, the question is, can we say the horoscope is strong if Lagna Lord in the 8th?
We can, sir. Because the purpose of the life itself is told by Lagna Lord, that his purpose of the life is 8th house related matter.
Okay. So now some students have documented in the beginning that the Lagna Lord should be well placed, right? We will give more weightage to that. Okay. Before even going into in this horoscope, which will we give more priority? Can we even say whether this person is a spiritual person? What about that? What about that
Aggressive-
possibility?
Aggressive spiritual, not like bhakti related spiritual.
Fanatical.
And Jupiter should be the graha most checked.
Okay, without knowing that, then how will we proceed?
Sir, Moon, Mars, Venus shows love, sir.
Now, please try to dwell upon what I said just now. First, do we know?
Background is important, sir. First to check the.
Do we know?
before
No,
starting.
even if you know the background, how many of you will say he is a spiritual person? How many will say he is not? Without astrology, only as a person. Why was he arrested in USA? But then Jesus Christ also was arrested, right? So the question is not even a horoscope. The question is whether we know what to give priority. About human beings itself. Without knowing that, how will we even read a horoscope? So what would be a good horoscope? Forget this for the time being. What will be a good horoscope? What will be a bad horoscope?
Lord Sri Rama's horoscope.
No, not that. From the point of view of life, what will be? I mean, this particular person is good. This person is bad. What will be the criteria?
If the purpose of the life is not, if the purpose of the life is not matching with the or not in synergy with the other yogas, like what I mean to say is, if suppose the horoscope has Daridra yoga, the horoscope has something like where you have to wander here and there without any base or something. But if he happens to be a sannyasi, all that will turn out to be yoga and not dosha. So it is like if yogas are aligned with the purpose of the life, then it is a good horoscope. If it is not aligned.
If a serial killer has a karma, right?
Correct, sir.
He has to kill so many people. And when he's doing that karma, is he a good person or a bad person? Or in his horoscope, how will planets be? Well placed, beautiful yogas, or how will it be?
But if he is ending up his entire life without even getting punished for doing his karma, then fine. You can like
for him, yeah, it is fine.
Not fine, as in like his horoscope is. We cannot term it as a wrong horoscope.
What will show up in the horoscope? Will a lot of doshas be there, or nice yogas will be there?
Doshas will be there.
No, sir, not nice yogas will be there.
Planets in 6, 8, and 12, maybe.
So we've seen the serial killer.
Very big topic to be.
Certain nakshatras will show up more prominently.
It's a perception, sir. It's basically is what I would say.
No, whatever be the perception, perspective, whatever we call it, still we have to say, whether a mass murderer is justified. In fact, mass murderers in court, they always justify what they have done. They say, yeah, good, we killed so many people, so what?
If he is an army person and he kills so many persons, there also it gets justified.
In an army person's horoscope, and let's say he's a commander, his horoscope will have bad yogas or good yogas.
Good yogas with regard to Mars and also.
Killing is always situational. For an army person, it is a bravery thing.
No, that is not the point. In his horoscope, will it show as yogas or doshas? For a commander.
Yoga, sir.
Yoga.
Army commander. Okay. A serial killer also kills as many people. Or, of course, maybe the commander may not directly kill so many people, but based on his order, it might happen.
Sir, actually, whatever happens in life, if you are happy and your mind is free from sufferings, then it's a complete life. So if
No,
mind
what
is
will the horoscope show? Will the horoscope show good placement or bad placement?
Bad placement.
Bad placement, sir.
Bad placement. Sir, we have to see the chart from karmic judgment, not from our court's judgment perspective, sir.
The karmic and all is not in our hands. Now, when we take a chart itself, it's only you as a person, the native as a person, whether it's good for him or bad. You don't have to go into karmic thing unless you're looking for a remedy.
For example, sir, in Ramana Maharishi's chart, we see all his second house affliction, everything is shown in the chart, but that didn't affect him at all. We cannot conclude based on the chart, even, I think so.
But Ramana
So can we then say, given the chart, I still need to know what is the background of the person? Because if you read the chart when they are very young, not even become that, what would you say? And after they have done certain things, what would you say?
Desha Kala Patra, sir, as you said always.
Guruji, before that, if there is a severe affliction in 159 and then on top of the 10th house, maybe that chart may not achieve even on the yogic side. 159, at least something, those things should be some strong. So some strength should be there.
I agree, sir.
Either by combination or the dispositor. So there should be some kind of strength should be there in a person in the chart. If there's no strength, then it's, like usually when we see a person's chart where they have severe afflictions, they're like bedridden, or they're separated from family kicked them out, went into the wrong relationships.
Before that, I would request throw us some light on like what is the definition of good horoscope, basically, because again that becomes perspective. At the end of the day, if the person is happy, be he a serial killer or be he a sannyasi, if he is happy at the end of the day, then is it defined as a good horoscope, or or is it like only if he is doing religious, then it's a good horoscope? Because the same murder factor can be good to a person who is a common man, and it can turn out to be a yoga for a military person. So everything goes by the logic, like what is the...
I think Guruji is trying to say context matters. That's the lesson he's trying to teach. Is that right, Guruji?
Suppose, yes. Suppose when a child is born, we do not know what that person will become, right? So on that day, when you read the chart, as it happened in Prince Siddhartha, who later on became the Buddha. So some common things were stated. That he'll be famous. He'll be very powerful. Some common statements were made by all the astrologers. But only one astrologer said he will he will get all these things. Again, he'll be famous. He will rule over a lot of men. His name will be there till the end of mankind. And so on. All the positive points that the 11 astrologers told. But the 12th astrologer said he may become a sannyas. And even after becoming a sannyas, he will experience all these things again. So there is some level of concrete something available in a horoscope. Like there was an answer to the puzzle that I showed. Only thing is you did not know how to do it. Okay? So, like that, a serial killer will definitely have a lot of afflictions in the horoscope. Otherwise, he will not do that.
Correct, sir.
So, at the beginning, you can say to some extent something. Whatever be the thing, it will still be correct. For example, if you have Daridra yogas in the chart, the person might actually become a true sannyas. But a true sannyas is in Daridra. He is in poverty. He doesn't have money. In fact, a true sannyas has to beg for food. Who will beg? And we give it a separate word for them, right?
Diksha.
Yeah. So that proves astrology. So like that, something must be there in general. Even without knowing the background of the person, you should be able to say something. And for that, you need some concrete rules. And that is where you should stick to your rules, even if you know the person. If I showed you a separate chart without showing Osho's horoscope, like Rajini's horoscope, and then I simply placed one ascendant and I put Venus in the 8th house, how will the class react? Good or bad? But the moment you know he is a spiritual person, then you say, oh, 8th house is also spirituality. 8th house is also... Now comes another important point. We do not even know whether he is a good person or a bad person. How do you know that? Very difficult, right? Again, perspective. So all his followers, what will they say? Why did they call him Bhagwan? For the followers, he is Bhagwan. That's their perspective. So we have a lot more confusion like this because we can't even find out whether it is good or bad. Why was Mahatma Gandhi assassinated?
Because he tried to split up India again.
Now, who did it?
God.
British citizen.
No.
Nathuram Godse, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, from his perspective, is justified that Mahatma Gandhi is a bad person. But how will we say whether he is good or bad? Is Gandhiji a rich person?
Guruji, two things. Wow. This is in regards to what Osho said. One is on Osho's commentary on Gandhiji. Do we know that? I mean, Guruji, do you know that? What Osho said on Gandhiji?
I mean, he criticized him a lot. He said he is the greatest fool on earth and things like that.
No, I'm not saying those kind of words. Rather, he said that when Gandhiji traveled in the poor class train, okay, they would, what the other people do is they will make the entire train into an empty compartment, and then the train will go. So on outside, it was like, yes, he's going on third class, but on the train, all those people who could be on that class could not be on the train. And then he would drink goat milk. Then they say that per day they would spend 10 rupees. In those days, 10 rupees to clean the goat. These are all from Osho's words. You can find it on YouTube.
Oh.
And Osho is connected with Gandhi's family and all that. So and so on one side, it's like, yes, all the good things. On the other side, it's a complete different story. So one lady, I forgot her name, she said, keeping up appearances for Gandhiji was making the coffers of India go down, or something along those lines.
Mm.
Now, there's another thing Osho also said, not related to Gandhiji, but rather from a previous topic, which I kind of forgot. I'll circle back to that. Sarojini Naidu, that's correct, yes.
if somebody has Jupiter here, what did you say?
It will count as positive point in this nature, sir.
Because Jupiter is exalted, right?
Yes, sir.
Blanket statement.
He will have good knowledge in
Guruji, I remembered. Guruji, sorry, I remembered. So when we talked about Buddha, Osho also said another interesting thing. All the astrologers said that, gave them the wrong advice. They told him to shower with all the richness, with everything on the good side, so that he got fed up with everything, and then he wanted to find the true thing. So Osho said if he was there, the astrologer, so he would have said that don't give anything for Gautama, let him suffer, let him earn everything. So if he does not have anything, and if he has to suffer and try to get things, then he might have become a king and he would not have become a sannyasi, a Buddha.
So are you saying that a person's life can be changed by astrologers?
No, that's not the point. Rather,
no, does that mean that Gautama himself did not have a fate?
So the astrologers said that he had two fate. One, he would become a great ruling king who will conquer lands, or he would become a sannyasi and
and still conquer lands in terms of religion. Okay. Yeah.
So that was the destiny that was already there. Now the question is, on which side is he going to take? The advice all the astrologers told him is to give all the riches and drown him in luxury, and that pushed him on to the other side. So Osho was saying, let's push him to the other side of poverty and struggle. Then he might have went into conquering lands rather than thinking. And I'm not sure, this is just a hypothetical statement. Yes, Guruji, you can continue. Thank you.
Yeah. So all these questions about, all this way of communicating about a horoscope, ifs and buts, had this happened, that would have been the result and so on. All that is only a discussion, abstract discussion. Something has already happened and it can't be changed. And talking about what would have happened if this was the choice. Okay. There is a fate for him that he was already, prepared. His karma has already prepared him for becoming the Buddha. But the surprise was when the Buddha became the Buddha, the divine Atmas from the universe came down to fall on his feet and take his blessings. At that time, he seems to have told them that I'm not the only one. There were several Buddhas before me and several will come after me. So it was a result of a long series of efforts in all the past lives, which made it possible for him to become the Buddha. Now, it was not based upon any astrologer that he became a Buddha. And whatever events led to that has to lead to that automatically, in whichever way it lead to that. If you say like this, if I had not shown him, if I had only shown him suffering, would he have become? He would still become. If you have shown him only enjoyment, he will still become. That there is, for these kind of people, extraordinary horoscopes, there is a great fate waiting. But whether astrologers can see it or not, like in the problems that I gave, there is a solution. But how many of you can see it or not is something else. Whether an astrologer can see something or not is totally different from karma. Karma is there, revealed by the planets. Whether we are able to see is a different matter. How many of you understood what I said?
Yes, Guruji, you're talking about our karma of astrologers.
No, not about astrologers' karma. That is, there is a karma. And that karma is what we are searching for using horoscope. Whether we find it or not is a different point. But there is a karma, right? For a person, for which he came in this birth.
Can we also put it in the passive voice that it's also that whether karma will be found. Is that like that karma
Exactly, exactly.
found by the astrologer?
Yeah, it is only found by the astrologer, not caused. How can an astrologer cause somebody's karma?
Like say, if I am going to an astrologer, in my horoscope also it has to be written that I will get solution from an astrologer. Otherwise, I might not even visit him.
No, there is something else. There is some portion of our life which is so much karma, and for all these top people, they will have so much karma in their life. And for the lesser people, there will be a lot more free will in their life. So it will be a range of possibilities across people. It won't be the same percentage. It won't be the same. It's like pyramid. On the top, you have less space. Less number of people will be born on the top of the pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid, they will have 100% fate. Whether we are able to see it or not is different. When a person takes birth with so many planets in all the 7 and 8, the person will be highly sexual in nature. Osho spent his energy only in that. Hence the backache. He was suffering continuously with back pain. So, in what context something is being read is astrologer is right. I am looking at it like this. If you take a debate on whether somebody is good or bad, we can go endlessly. But there is something which happened, right? Osho lived in a particular way. He was inside his room and just wondering like this. And people found he was very different, though he was a professor. Because he was getting prepared. There is something else that he had to do. So depending upon whatever happened to him, whatever life he went through, at least that much should be revealed by the horoscope. Otherwise, what is there in a horoscope? Then how can we even try to read a horoscope if nothing is revealed? It will be revealed. But even then, there is a possibility of free will at any point in time, which the Buddha himself accepted, saying that if I don't get moksha in this life, I will still get in the next one. It will not go away from me because he's accumulated so much of punya. So even if he had missed it in that life, it will still come back. In that case, he would have been a good king, which he was, meaning basically he was very strong physically and so on. So one thing important is how much ever we claim that we can read a horoscope without knowing the background, it is not correct. We must know the background. Because in what context will you say weak or strong is only from that point of view. Like somebody said, for a sannyas, the world is different. For a grihastha, the yardstick is different. For a grihastha, more money, success. For a sannyas, more money, problem. He will get into problem with the government. The government will arrest him.
Sir, one more point, which one important point is like we always get this into like a scientific mode for analyzing, which is also okay. But if you go to any classics for that matter, always they talk about Daivajna Lakshanam, that an astrologer has to be like that. So if we question to ourselves how much we are in alignment to that, it's like again not at all, at least in this world, in this materialistic world. So because of that also we fail to recognize the or we lack that Vak Siddhi and that Divya Chakshush, what we call as. So every grantha in the starting, every classics in the starting always mention the Daivajna Lakshanam. So maybe like we fail to read this or understand it in the beginning, maybe because of like almost all of us lack that to an extent.
So now what has happened is you have taken the discussion to the astrologer. Okay. But we are not talking about the astrologer here. We are trying to see how we can solve that problem.
Capacity to recognize this.
And for that problem to be solved, what are the skills that we needed? How some people said it's not possible, we need more numbers on the left side. And some people did not even understand the problem. So many times I repeated and yet they did not understand. But one person did it very fast. But even that person was not sure because the person kept on saying, the student kept on saying, I do not know whether I got this right. Right? For the same problem. And when you talk about Vak Siddhi and so on, the grace of God, etc. To do this maths, do we need God's grace?
No, sir, logical mind.
Can atheists do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Can somebody who destroyed tens and tens of temples, can he do maths?
Yes.
So calculations is not dependent on any other thing except that you know the rules. If I know the rule, I can do it. For that, I needed to know how to add numbers and subtract because the other numbers have to be subtracted. So when you say Vak Siddhi, it looked like the astrologer made it happen. How many of you accept this? He has Vak Siddhi.
Vak Siddhi as in, sir, like whatever it's the other way around, sir. Not the converse. What you told is the converse.
He's in sync with the universal will.
If the astrologer is able to find out the karma using the horoscope, that will become Vak Siddhi. That he said it. But actually, what he did, he calculated from the horoscope and said that. Do you understand?
Vak Siddhi in other ways, that intuitive power of that person. In other meaning.
For solving this problem, what power was there? Was it intuitive? Was it a grace of God?
No.
So when you see something like this, Jupiter exalted, how much weightage to give just to exaltation? How do you answer this question?
So we can check the Shadbala and give more. Then check. Then we can give importance to exaltation.
Shadbala for what date? Because this will be here for 1 year.
It's not for native. Okay, sir.
Can you do a Shadbala for this Jupiter?
No.
Sir, Ashtak Varga points we can see.
For what date?
At the time, maybe we can do the prashna at the time the question has asked.
No, I'm saying this Jupiter is here for 1 full year, close to a year. It will be there, right? For 1 full year. Throughout the full year, it will have the same power?
No, sir.
It's just
Sir,
a
the
Navamsa dignity.
should be the same.
Huh?
The
Navamsa
Ashtak Varga
dignity.
points.
Okay, if you say Navamsha, then what should I say? I will give more importance to Navamsha, whether it is own house or exalted, right? Can I say that?
It's more accurate, sir. Yeah. It's more
Navamsha
related
is a
than this,
hidden,
than just
shows a
this
hidden power.
Rashi.
If it is exalted in Rashi but debilitated in Navamsha, it is not telling the whole story.
Navamsha also it will change, sir.
Sir,
If it
can
is in
we
various pada.
Sir, in the first place, can we even compare these two, because they are all for telling some different results. So how can we even say that importance over Navamsha, over Ucha, those are all different things.
Lagna matters.
Navamsha I see for something else. Uchabala is something else. So prioritizing, as in, like, if I am telling about the Karakattvas of Jupiter, then I would go for the exaltation. If I am talking about the Karakatva of the Jupiter, then I will say that because it is exalted, so Karakatva might get more. Similarly, if I am talking about the result, I would go for the position.
Suppose I place the ascendant over here. Is this Jupiter well placed?
Yes and no, both, sir. Based on the question.
How can it be yes and no?
So basically, it is not well placed, but because of the exaltation, the negative.
See, if we say yes and no in a reading, if somebody is asking a question, can I go abroad? You can say yes and no. Will I become rich or poor? You can say yes, you will, but sometimes you may not. Right? So in astrology, we need to at least stay firm in our decision making with regard to combinations. We cannot keep changing that stance. Whether we are able to do it right or wrong, that's a different point. Okay.
But can we conclude that Jupiter is good? Yes, no, in such manner.
At least it is exalted, sir.
It's good for the afterlife.
It is bad, sir.
No planet is good, no planet is bad, sir. Like that. Like.
It depends on which stage of this person we are talking about.
6th and 8th Lord exalted.
8th Lord and 12th and 5th Lord and 12th, according to BPH, is bad, sir.
It's so good because a benefic in the 12th is good for spirituality. But speaking about children, 5th Lord in the 12th, it's not a good placement.
This one, how's it?
Very good, sir. It's better, sir, than the previous one.
Oh, it's only better.
Yes.
Or it's a world of a difference between the previous and this.
World of
it's a really very positive, sir.
Sir, in all BPHs in shlokas, he talks about placement of the planet as well as if it is exalted and gives the good results, sir.
It's a Panchamahapurusa Yoga, sir.
Okay, now this is a 4th house Jupiter. Okay, then we have another 4th house Jupiter. This is also 4th house Jupiter. Then this one is a 4th house Jupiter. If you read Bhrigu Sutram, just simply 4th house Jupiter, you will get some result. And are all, can you take the results as identical in all situations?
Lordship is different, sir, for different lagnas.
Anything else? One more dimension.
Sir,
Dignity. Dignity of the planet.
Strength or strength of the graha.
Okay.
So kshetra, ucha kshetra, etc.
So it means that if you are talking about this exaltation, it makes no sense until you know what is the ascendant. Yes?
Yes, sir.
There's no sense. It's like having a money inside the locker, but you don't know the number. You can't do anything with it.
Sir, even exalted planets in Dushtana is also good, sir, right? It's not, they will not give that negative results, right, sir? Compared to normal debilitated planets in 6th, 8th and 12th.
Okay, suppose this was the condition, and for a moment you think you are the student of Maharishi Parashara, right there when he was living, and he was teaching, and you were in his class. And what would you tell Maharishi Parashara? Is this good or bad?
Guruji, can I say that this will be good if the person was in foreign land, goes away?
So we can say overall it's bad, but it can be much worse.
I mean, it's bad combination, but if there is a good point, maybe in the homeland, hometown, this will be a disaster. Will it be a good thing if he's abroad, casted away from the nation?
Depends on the context, sir. Like, sir, if Jupiter is exalted, and let us say if it is in good position also, if we make it as a Mesha Lagna, for example, so does it mean Jupiter is good? So he will get all the good things of when it comes to Karakatwas of Jupiter. He will get all the good things related to 4th house. He will get all the good things related to 9th house. He will get all the good things related to 12th house. That is not possible, sir.
Sir, can I come here?
More of a bad.
Yes.
It's specific to this ascendant. I will give four results. One is for the fifth lord. Fifth lord is now exalted, but it's in the 12th house.
Okay, there you just stop there and say which one will you give more weightage? Will you give more weightage to the fact that the fifth lord is in the 12th, or the fifth lord is exalted?
Fifth lord in 12th.
Placement, sir.
Is more bad than
Moreover, from the fifth house, its lord has moved to 8 places to 12th house.
Okay.
So that the fifth house is in a way it's damaged that way.
In the beginning, did we not did not some students say the 5th and the 9th should be well placed? Or which one to give more importance? I mean, we have documented now. Some of you have typed it out. Now, is it good to have 5th lord in the 12th? What is 5th house?
5th house is Purva Punya.
So now, which one will you give more importance? Whether the 5th lord is exalted or 5th lord is in the 12th? And what will be the logic? What will be the basis for making this statement?
Sir,
Fifth lord in the 12th, sir. Fifth lord in the 12th will give an idea of overall how the results will be. But whether it's fully fulfilled or not, it will be shown by the degree.
Sir,
Exalted.
I'll just interpret, sir. Like, my thing is there are 2 aspects to it. One is the place, 5th place. Second is the 5th lord. When we say 5th lord, it is the Karakatva. So he might get Karakatvas of that. So he might have a good education, because education is the Karakatva of the Jupiter. But when it comes to 5th place, that place, there he might get a backstab. So like when having son, when having children, he might face some issues. But when it comes to Karakatvas of Guru, he will get a good benefit out of it, because exaltation.
Can somebody read Brigu Sutram Guru in 12th? Okay. While you search, let me explain to you one important thing. How to sort this out. Always ask which one is general and which one is specific. Which is rarer and which is more often. Now, for the entire year, Jupiter is exalted. But each ascendant is something very specific to a person. I have the same Jupiter in the 12th. My friend has Jupiter in the 11th. Another friend has it in the 10th. So what is more important is only the placement or something to do with the ascendant. So of the priority, it is always simply the ascendant as a reference point. You have to give importance to the ascendant as the most important thing. Because even in divisional chart, it's only the ascendant. Why? Can anybody say why is the ascendant given so much importance?
It is me, the self.
And it defines the rest of the houses. Sir.
It is the base. It is the basis for deciding the other bhavas.
No, you still not got the right answer.
It decides like what are all the functional benefics and malefics for that particular ascendant.
Not it.
This is the time being allotted for you to take birth. So
perfect. That's the answer. This is the exact time you are born. You were not born in any other minute. You were waiting to be born in that particular minute. And at that particular minute, the ascendant was in this particular place in the horoscope. That decides the divisional chart Lagna. And that decides the angles between Lagna and other planets, Bhava, shift and everything is only based on Lagna. So the priority number one is simply where the ascendant is. Okay, this is the most important message for today. Second thing is, you ask the question, which is more often happening, which is rarer. So ascendant based anything is rarer. All the divisional charts ascendant versus placement of planets is the rarer thing in anybody's horoscope. Whereas Jupiter exalted, the king and a beggar born in that same year will have Jupiter exalted. So raise your hands, those who have Jupiter exalted, even the beggar will raise. Even nothing person will also raise his hand. A king might raise his hand. We all have Jupiter exalted. So this is the best way to find out which is more important than the other. But in the beginning, the first student told a very important point. I will give top priority to the first statement in anything, or whatever we read. That's one of the biggest points in astrology. Second thing, I keep reiterating this again and again. Simply follow the rules or whatever was written. Separately, you can use your own logics and common sense and tell your own views, but that will not be the view of the rishis. You can go beyond them. That's your right. You can say anything. For example, I can say, what is wrong if fifth lord in the 12th? No problem, even with children. That's my view. But Maharishi doesn't say that. I can even say, what's wrong if you don't have a child? Who told you you must have a child? Look at all the sannyasi. Are they having child? Live like them. Like that you can talk. These are all personal views. Sometimes, to tell you the truth, there are many people who say, they themselves say, I am not worried about that part at all. I'm childless. So what? No big deal. There are people who say, I don't want another person to come here and suffer in this world. This world is very bad. It's all personal opinion. But when it comes to rules, you have to follow the rules. You must say that this is a letdown. Even if it's exalted, the person missed that opportunity of the exaltation. How many of you say, note this point. You just look at this. I'll do it in slow motion. Here, when the ascendant came, how nice. He grabbed this opportunity. Correct? He grabbed it. Wow. The Lord of the 9th in first exalted. And simply having Jupiter in the first is like the greatest blessing of the God energy, the godliness and the goodliness in life. So this particular ascendant, and then this Atma waited a little longer, and then he pushed Jupiter into his 12th. Now all that is lost. What do we have here? It is not just a Panchamaha Yoga. It's a big one. If you read about this Jupiter in ascendant in Bhrigu Sutram, you will be so impressed with what Maharishi says. It's one of the best things to have. Lord Sri Rama. Impossible. This kind of a position. But look at this Atma who spent more time in the mother's womb and waited till he pushed the most auspicious graha, Jupiter, into the 12th. But strangely, Bhrigu Sutram says that he will be good at mathematics alone. Okay, that's something strange about it. In fact, I did find many horoscopes where Jupiter in the 12th, they were good at mathematics. I do not know what was the logic. Why did he even mention mathematics here? Usually I thought, maths and Ganidam is only Mercury's property. Okay. So generally, this is not good combination for education. But because Jupiter is the Karaka for education, then the person can spend a lot of time and money and resource in education. So if you have Jupiter badly placed, it's not a good combination for education. So when you are in doubt, always ask the master. And who is the master? The Rishis. So when you have the words of Rishis, you say the Rishi has told this, but my opinion is something else. That's up, you really have the right to do that. But please do not change whatever was the statement. Okay. And then depending upon afflictions, like for example, if Saturn was here, things change dramatically, right? If Saturn is here, or even Rahu is here, complete change. What would go wrong?
Malefics in the 12th.
Oh no, Jupiter associated with malefics. Complete twist. What we call kaleidoscopic twist. Opposite, flip side. Turn the coin, completely reverse. I think Sai Prahlad in the beginning said if Guru is in the 12th, afterlife is very good. You go to heaven. Will this person go to heaven? And please read in between the lines when the Rishis talk about heaven and hell. Hell means next life bad. In order to go to next life bad situation, what should you be doing in this current life?
Yeah.
You'll be doing bad. You'll be doing bad things naturally. Okay, maybe you meant to say what remedy should be done, right?
Yes,
Maybe
sir.
yeah, you meant that, I think. Okay. But naturally, what the person will do? The person will do things in tandem with how to go to hell. Hellish birth. Okay. So today we have learned another idea that over exaltation, you will have to give importance to whether the person grabbed that opportunity or not. Out of the many good yogas arising out of the same Jupiter exalted, as in this case where it is a Panchamaha yoga called Hamsa Yoga, even this one is, of these four, which is superior Panchamaha yoga? Here, or here?
Mesha Lagna.
Mesha Lagna is superior.
Karka Lagna.
Okay, now we have opinions, right?
It came in without them knowing about it.
Was that a student or a background noise? Okay. So now tell me, we have different opinions. Or everybody is saying only between Mesha and Karkataka, Cancer? How many of you say even Makar Lagna is good? Or even Tula Lagna? So which is better?
Karkataka is better, sir. The first one.
Why?
It's because
Lagna is Kendra and Kona. So Jupiter comes in.
Tula.
On the Lagna also, sir.
it is on the
you can harvest the power of Kendra and Kona because it is in Lagna. If in Mesha, it only becomes a Kendra.
Tula Lagna is a 10th lord, so I mean 10th house from Tula.
See, what we are trying to do, we are trying to manufacture ideas. I think maybe you're not following any text, right? You're not following any proof. Why do I rate this better than that? It is just guessing. According to me. What is special
no, sir,
about?
like it is for the Cancer ascendants, like it is the first number one benefic planet, sir.
Mars is number one for Cancer.
Mars is
Oh yeah, Mars.
And Rishi Saraswati
And then
told
Jupiter.
also the Jupiter in the first house, if it is strongly placed and without any afflictions, it can save that person, sir, irrespective of the other bad yogas in the chart.
So too many things
Like
are
you mentioned,
coming up in this.
Like you. Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
So too many positive things are coming from.
Yeah, Meena Lagna, it will aspect the Lagna too.
Sir, Lagna Guru also aspects the.
No. The question is, if Jupiter is exalted and simultaneously in a Kendra from ascendant, it gives rise to a very rare yoga called Pancha-Mahapurusha Yoga. Here, or here. Okay. So only this is the topic. We are not concerned with any other placement. Of these four, which is more auspicious? Then somebody said, maybe we should think Karkataka.
Jupiter in Lagna gets directional strength and affects the.
So suppose you try to write out so many points, plus of each of these possibilities. In which one will you get more plus? This one, or this one, or this one?
Cancer, sir.
Karkataka Lagna, sir.
Karkataka Lagna.
Yeah. So you get that. And even then, it is not good. It's not over. You need to search. Like if one of you have Brigusutram with you, read Jupiter in first house. Kumar Devi, you have that book?
No, sir. If Jupiter is in his own sign, in the first house, the native will be a good speaker and well-versed in Shastras. He will have full knowledge of 3 Vedas, good number of children, and will be happy, long-lived, and learned. If Jupiter is in his sign of exaltation, all the above results will be fully realized, and in his 16th year, the native will enjoy the effects of Maharaja Yoga, so caused by Jupiter.
He uses the word Maharaja Yoga, not just a Raja Yoga. Then remember Lord Rama, okay? Just for reference, so you won't forget it. Now from this, just this simple exercise, will you give importance without the ascendant to Jupiter exalted, or does it make sense only if you bring in the ascendant?
Bringing the ascendant, sir.
Without bringing the ascendant, what? See, here itself you are able to say, even this is not that good, this is not that good, and this is not that good. But after this, which one will be the next best?
Mesha.
Mesha, right? Now you got some logics out of it. Because if I place this ascendant or this ascendant, Jupiter is having some other, lordships. So the role changes. What is Jupiter for that person? Or for this person, it becomes the 3rd and 6th lord. Whereas for this, it becomes the functional benefic lord of 9th, placed in the 4th house, again a Kendra, and then a Pancha-Mahapurusha.
Sir, but between Mesha and Karkataka, Mula Trikona of Jupiter falls in 6th house for Karkataka, but Mula Trikona falls in 9th house for Mesha. Sir.
All that has been dealt by Maharishi himself. Okay, he has said all that. He has handled that. So don't bother about that. Okay. So that is the reason why I say stop using own logics. Okay. 1 second. The question is raised by the student is, if this is the ascendant, is not Jupiter the lord of the sixth, and that sixth house is Mula Trikona. So it will give more result of 6 than 9. What is the answer to that question?
But Maharshi mentioned like they get ninth house results, sir.
Or did Maharishi say it is a good planet for this ascendant?
Yes, sir.
So there is only now 2 options for us. One, we have to say that Maharishi himself forgot Mula Trikona. How many of you might say that? I think Maharishi forgot. Or Maharishi made a mistake. So what I'm trying to say is you'll have to take a stance. Somewhere you'll have to take a stance. How do we know Jupiter is exalted in Cancer? Who told us?
Maharshi, sir.
Maharishi, sir.
Who told this? The owner of this house is, Jupiter, Sagittarius. Only the Maharshis, right? So, and the Maharshi also says for Karkadaga Lagna, Jupiter is a benefic. It means they are very much aware of the complex nature of these things, Mula Trikona and everything. They are the ones who taught us about Mula Trikona. So, there you'll have to take a stance. The Maharshi has said. So, what is the next rule that we learned today in priority? Give top priority to whatever the Maharshi said. When the Maharshi says Jupiter in ascendant in exaltation alone is a Maharaja Yoga, then you'll have to simply believe it as this is the highest benefit, beneficial placement for Jupiter. There is nothing which can be bigger than this. Jupiter exalted and then ascended. But lesser would be this one. Jupiter in ascendant. What is the problem with this Jupiter?
12th lord in first house, sir.
It is debilitated, right? It's just the opposite of that. So, do you have Panchamaha Yoga here?
No, sir.
We don't have, right? Will the person get the result of Jupiter in ascendant at least?
Yes, sir.
Something he will get, right? Even here, this could have been worse if the ascendant is here. It's completely opposite. So now what is the difference between this and this? Oh my God. This one and this one. Both are in 12th, right? Will it give the same result?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why?
Here Jupiter is exalted. The previous.
So in comparison, you will give some weightage to exaltation also, but it will be along with one more rule. It won't be a standalone, just like that. Because in the beginning you said Shadbala. How can you calculate Shadbala without the time of birth? In one day, you change all the lagnas and see Shadbala changing. Vimsopaka will change like anything. So if you go through the entire one full year, you will get all kinds of Shadbalas.
Guruji, you're talking about Jupiter, Guru, and the text got bigger.
Okay. So priority is always what the Rishi said has to be given priority, even if it doesn't work. Don't bother about it. Because most of the time, whatever they said will only work. So don't bother even if you go wrong. The person is not happy with your reading. No, I'm not like this, I'm like that. Don't bother because eventually it will become the truth. It will become. So what are the classical textbooks we have? topmost is Brihat Parasharohara Shastra. Then we have Brigu Sutram. Then we have Jaimini Sutram. From different angles, you can pick up a lot of knowledge. Then slowly we go to Brihat Jataka. Then Jataka Parijata and what else? Uttara Kalamrita. In each book, there is something special that has come about. Something. But doesn't mean that the rishis missed it out. They would have spoken about it. It never got documented. Okay? Because they would have taught this in a lifetime. Do you think they only taught that portion? They would have spoken so many other things. And we didn't get all of them. So please do not. But in modern times, astrologers, when they come up with ideas, you will have to take it with a pinch of salt and always wait. Let me not accept it as it is, because it's just an opinion about, made by a modern astrologer. Okay? Is this fine? So what is the method? Anything that is based on ascendant should be given top priority. So what would be the lords of houses in different houses? Definitely it is ascendant based. Same horoscope, you shift the ascendant. One shot, everything changes. Yes? If I change the ascendant to this ascendant, how will it be? How will this ascendant be? How will this ascendant be? Is it the same? Completely different types of human beings will come. Now it is here. Okay? So by using astrology, even you can go to the extent of saying whether a person is good or bad. Okay? How many of you notice a parivartana between Jupiter and Moon here in this horoscope?
Sir, we discussed this chart, sir. Then we found it.
Very good. Where is Ketu? In the 4th. Right? Maybe you think it is in the 5th, but it's not. It is in the 4th. When many planets are in 7 and 8, most of the textbook says you will unite with many people. One of the things about this ashram was there will be a large space where everybody is physically uniting and he'll be walking around that place. Okay? That was one of the exercise. So you could use astrology to even understand a human being's life. Whether we have many different opinions or not, the horoscope will reveal the truth about everything. So what is the conclusion we had today? Which one to give more importance?
Rules based on ascendant, sir.
Next one.
Just believe the Maharishi.
Search for statements in the classical book. Give more weightage to that than the others.
Yes, sir. That we will do anyway, sir. There is no other option.
But when we know a little bit of astrology, and since we are all very logical, all of us are, all human beings are logical, intelligent. Then questions like this will come up. I know for Karkataka Lagna, Jupiter is the lord of the 6th and its Mula Trikona is in the 6th, therefore it will work. It will be negative. Or this is an exalted planet, it is retrograde, therefore it is equal to debilitated.
Sir, in the Shadhyaya chapter, it gives good results for exalted planet and placed in Kendra, Trikona, and 11.
Exactly. Exactly.
How about if that planet is exalted but placed in 11th? So 12th, sir,
No.
maybe Dusthana.
Yeah,
What is
correct.
going to be the results?
It will give more result of the 12th house.
exaltation? Because
It will give more result of the 12th. Why? Can anybody say why? More specific.
Yeah.
More specific.
Yeah.
That is why we did this exercise today. In one paragraph, is it exalted? But actually that exaltation is along with other conditions. Is it in Kendra? Is it in Trikona? Exaltation. What does it mean? They should all combine together. You cannot take part by part. No, exaltation word is there. The only confusion is from ascendant you have got one set of instructions about what can happen. From Dashanath you have one set of instructions or predictions. In this, which one to give more importance? Is it from ascendant or from Dashanath? Priority.
Dashanath.
From Dashanath. Why? That is more specific to the time. Okay.
Guruji, in the chart where the person had Jupiter in the, in Cancer in 12th, can they go to foreign lands to avoid some of the negatives? Is that possible? Does it work or no?
No, it is not just about planets in the 12th. There are so many other yogas for foreign. And they must get that planet placed in the 12th dasha. So many rules are there. Just by one combination, you cannot say, because you do not know how the 4th house lord is, how the 9th house lord is, and so on, whether they can still stay homeland. And maybe do remedies connected to Jupiter being in the 12th. Of course, there's usually an idea that the 12th house means going to foreign countries, going to, leaving, losing, and all that. You can suggest actually, but before you suggest, you should check all the other possibilities. So the priority is given, there should be always given for the stack-up method. How many do you find repeatedly showing in a horoscope? That will become the truth. So more and more. So it will be always how many you can find, more and more. Sometimes in divisional chart, for example, one particular chart alone, like a D7 chart, will have all the afflictions that is possible in a D7 chart. Now, one problem in the Rashi chart is enough. One problem in the Baba chart is enough. Combined with all the problems in D7 chart, you have to give more weightage to D7 in that case. Like that, divisional charts has to be given more importance than the basic chart. But for that, you should get one condition satisfied in the main chart. If you have that condition and then following up with more and more evidence from D7, D7 will become suddenly more important. Transit versus Dasha Bhukti, which one more important?
Dasha Bhukti.
Dasha Bhukti is more important. Like this, you should know. I'll give more weightage to this. But then there is a problem while reading a chart. Sometimes people come to you for reading. I know you are a student of astrology. Can you help me out with this? They're coming with a lot of hopes. There you can use your own skill of counseling. Okay, that's a different thing. But conclusion should be drawn based upon these ideas. Priority.
Sir, in the results of the Mahadashas mentioned in PPHS, there are certain positives given for certain placements in the natal chart. And there is also certain rules for at the beginning moment of the Mahadasha when it starts. If the planet is transiting in 6, 8, or 12, there are certain other rules. Some negatives are given. In that case, which should we give more priority, sir?
When the Dasha, the Antardasha starts, where is the planet placed in the sky? In transit.
Yes, sir. Correct, sir.
That is only for, not from ascendant. It is only from the point of view whether it is happy. So basically, is it in own house or exaltation or Mulatrikona? I mean, obviously, some of them will be same only. So happiness in Vimshopaka. So if you take Vimshopaka as a separate reference to Dasha and Antardasha, you get a good result from that. But if you want to know when it started, that time you take a photo of the sky and see when you start Sun Mahadasha, Sun is exalted. Then the Maharishi says add an extra point, because when the rule started in the sky, the planet was well placed. So there you have to give a lot of importance. Even in that, you will have to still go with the Antardasha only.
So not only exaltation or debilitation, sir. Even he mentioned certain things about the planet at the starting time of the Mahadasha. If it is in 6, 8, or 12, then the result will be bad. But in the natal chart, if the planet is well placed and is promising a good result, then in that case should be.
No, you give importance to the natal chart and the Dasha Bhukti only more than this rule.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. This one is slightly inferior to this.
Okay.
Guruji, what you said just now, does it also apply like for Antardasha? Like if a new Antardasha comes, like in April, if somebody is going through Sun Dasha, Sun is exalted in Aries, then that'd be good.
Yeah, whatever. Any planetary period. If you are using Pratyantar, you can use that rule also. But this is a side point. It is an adjective type. One more addition. It is not the main rule. It's not a stack up. You have to use it in stack up only.
Sir, just one query. This, if you are looking at the transit alone, only transit, then should we look it from more, or should we give more weightage to ascendant or from moon?
If you are reading a book in which the author himself, because you are referring to that book, if he says from the moon, those texts, whatever you read, that text is only applicable to the moon. You cannot use it for Lagna. But suppose you use some other book where it is talking from Lagna, and that too it has become a hot favorite of modern astrologers from Lagna. Then if there is a book which is saying from ascendant, if this planet is in the transit in this house, then use that. So you cannot mix up systems, because when the author wrote these, he must have got it from earlier astrologers, and it is like statistical method. So, for example, Sade Sati works with only moon than ascendant. There you cannot say, no, I'm going to look at Sade Sati as though it is from ascendant as reference point instead of moon. So, Sade Sati is always moon based. Ashtama Shani, all this is moon based. So, you need to know the text itself, it will say from the moon. If they say you can also use it along from Lagna also, then use it. Do you get this point? So when the astrologer or the author wrote something, he must have some evidence. Maybe from gurus before him, he learned all this, and then he thought then it is working. So all this, okay, when it comes to overall, you should give less importance to even moon-based, even Sade Sati. Why? The Dasha Bhukti is even stronger than that. But only problem is the weather will change, the background will change, but the events will not change. The events will still be based upon Dasha and Antardasha. Transits are more to do with the way you feel about it, your mind. Whereas the actual events are Dashas and Antardashas only.
Sir, and I have not read all the books, so maybe like in some books it might have quoted. People say that many of the yoga, for example, say Panchama Purusha Yoga is taken from Lagna.
But some will use it from moon also.
They quote the word that they use is Chandram Balam Nikhilamar Grahavirya Bijam, where they say that like the planet gains strength from moon. So Chandra Bala is required for everything. So is it like right to even view the Panchama Purusha Yoga from Chandra Lagna? Or
no, it is not. But what happens is, you don't want to disappoint a person and you want to encourage him. Don't worry if you don't have it from the ascendant, you are having it at least from the moon. Okay? Now that is counseling part. That is psychiatrist role. The psychologist role. Who said you don't have Panchama? You have, don't worry. And he'll be very happy about it. Okay. See, but I'll tell you what happened with this Chandra Lagna problem. For centuries, until quite recently, until the watch came, most of the people, 95 or maybe more than that % of the people never had ascendant. They were not very sure. Even today, people give me horoscope like 1990 born, I don't know time of birth. Just think about before watch. What is the possibility? So many of the astrologers for all the centuries have been using moon, and that is the confusion. But there are specific yogas arising out of moon itself. It is mentioned in the text itself. Where? In BPHS itself. But once it is mentioned, please use that as the reference. There is so many yogas from moon. Lunar. A lot of them. Lunar based. Yeah, Chandra based. So whatever is Chandra based, it is mentioned in the sloka, use it as it is. The only problem with all of us is we are using one and then importing that idea into some other place. Then we try to read it. And the problem is you may have trouble at one point in time, so you don't know how it is coming. Then you say, okay, that's because it's going over your ascendant. Saturn is going over ascendant. It's causing Sade Sati with reference to your ascendant. That's where the problem. So if you keep changing your stance like this, it will become so confusing. You cannot give good predictions or dependable predictions.
Sir, and there is also one where people compare the horoscope with Panchanga Paddhati. They say that I was born in 3 Pushkara Yoga. So rest all the yogas in the horoscopes are downgraded. And they say that because I am born in 3 Pushkara Yoga, I am like going to be 3 times Superman like this. So
in that case, you say, you will be like that. Don't worry.
Is there?
You see, there is a great astrologer here in Chennai. His name, he taught me horoscope matching. So I took one, because those days I was just a beginner. I didn't want to take the risk. So I had a VIP consultation and I took this VIP to this person. So, so our guy, the VIP, what he did, when he opened that book, the horoscope book, he started telling something about his own horoscope. Then immediately my guru, what he did, he closed that book. Okay. Some of you might know him, Sheshadri Nada Shastrigar. So he closed his book. First, you tell me how much astrology you know. I said, no, I don't know that much, but you seem to be knowing. No, I just said some statements. No, you tell me how much you know. The reason is, once you tell me all that you know, I will find out whether I know more than you or less than you. And then I will decide whether to consult or not, because if you know more, what's the point of me consulting? And he was a very strict man. So till the end, he didn't consult at all. He asked him to go. And then our man started pleading, sorry, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said something. So in all these things, nowadays, because of the astrology awareness, nowadays, they ask, these things. I know according to this, according to that. So in such cases, what should you do? Well, if it happens, fine. If you think like that.
Sir, your Guruji was in Indranagar, sir, Chennai. Indranagar.
Yeah.
Very close to my house, sir.
So, I mean, it's like that actually. But then what to do? In India, everybody is an astrologer and a doctor, you know that? You cannot cough next to any Indian. He will definitely give you a list of medicines. In the Western world, nobody will open their mouth. In a way, it's good because we are supposed to be knowledgeable. Okay. We have a lot of knowledge. See, when you say placement of planets, a particular planet is in this house, even there, it will become so strong if it is in Bhava Madhya. It is right in the middle. Okay? Be very careful about that. If you notice planets in Bhava Madhya, give lot of weightage to that over the planets in the sides. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So like now, if I consider Jupiter, then 5 degrees is the most exaltation planet. So
No,
should
not
I-
that, not that. From ascendant. So if let's say the ascendant is 5 degrees, let's say Jupiter is in 5 degrees, ascendant is in Simha 5 degrees. So where is Jupiter now? 12th house Bhava Madhya.
Okay, exact cusp.
Exact, not cusp. We will not use cusp because in Western world, cusp means border of two houses.
Okay.
But cusp is being used in two different ways. Even in Jagannath Hora, there is a confusion about cusp. Okay. So, for example, the sun in the 5th. If sun is in the 5th, Sage Bhrigu says the father will have a great trouble in the 7th year of that person's life. A very famous rule. Even Sai Prahlad, I think that they quoted this rule. Right, Prahlad?
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah,
Has
yeah.
this combination.
Yeah, in one horoscope, I saw exact Bhava Madhya. The father passed away when he was 7 years. So I later found out that if the exactness comes, it is something very different from other. So please watch for ascendant degree and immediately mark out any other planet in the same degree and give lot of importance, priority to that. Okay, that's very important. So like this, look for what is so specific in this chart. I think one of our classes, somebody said, we will notice the entire pattern itself. Very nice. All planets in fiery signs. All planets in watery signs. Try to look out for something different from others. Eclipse is different. The moment you see an eclipse, wait. Find out what is the axis. Give a lot of importance to that axis. That is the time when you can prove astrology. You don't need any questions. You can directly tell. Okay. Then there is the rule that if the Karaka of a particular matter, like for example, Jupiter is the Putra Karaka, joins with the 5th lord and it together goes to the 6th house, no children. Why? It is not just the 5th house, Lord went to the 6th. The Karaka got attached. Guru is the Karaka for children, connecting the permanent signification, what they call the Sthira Karakas. That Sthira Karaka of that matter with that house, surefire rule. You will always have that problem. So please look out for specific things like this. And once you learn something, try to associate it with some memory methods like, oh, I know Jupiter in ascendant is great only in Karkataka because Lord Rama had it. Like that, here and there, have some VIPs, celebrity, famous people's chart and think about it.
So one more is, if suppose like say for this child problem, if wife's horoscope shows a very good yoga and husband's horoscope shows a very affliction, in such cases, is there any?
So here you give more importance to wife's chart.
Okay.
And less to the man's chart. But what will happen is there will be still problem because of the man. And they will go through doctors. And eventually get a child. And after getting the child, the man who has the problem, he will separately continue to have problem with his child. Whereas the mother won't have any problem.
Okay. Understand.
You understand? So they will go through that experience separately. But worst case is when both have same afflictions. Then the possibility of more and more dependency on doctors, everything will increase. So
usually that type of horoscopes won't join, no, sir.
No.
During marriage.
No. There will be no. It will never be no dosha. It will be there. It will never be a case of zero dosha and then full dosha on one side. It never happened that they'll get married. But here, usually, if you have somewhat some dosha here and some dosha there, which one to give more importance is study the lady's chart more, because the lady is the one who's going to carry the child. Okay? So because carrying the child is done by the lady's chart is given more importance. Same way, Graha Pravesam, housewarming, whose nakshatra is important for housewarming? The ladies. Why? Home is experienced by the lady first, more than anyone else. Today, because women are also going for work, it's slightly becoming different. But in the good old days, it was only, housewarming was based only on the lady. Okay? Yeah, I think we had a good session today. So let's come back next week, same time. And I think some of you are also in tomorrow's class. We hope to meet you tomorrow.
Sir, I have a question, sir. The malefics aspecting their own houses. When
it comes to aspect, don't bring in malefic and benefic.
Sir, aspecting their own houses, whether it is benefic or malefic, it should be, good, right?
No, not only, you don't even bring benefic and malefic. You simply say a planet aspecting its own house is very good. I mean, not that planet becomes good, that house becomes good. How to prove?
Yo-yo bhava swami drishto yuddho va yo-yo jivas tasya tasya abhivriddhi. That is the...
I won't understand what he said anyway. Okay.
Brihad Jataka shloka, sir.
Yeah, Brihad Jataka. Okay, very good. So...
Either in conjunction or aspect,tion, that bhava gets...
that is the same thing as a own house, right? It is an own house or aspecting. I'm looking from here, all of you. It's the same like as I'm sitting with you. Okay?
Just for confirmation.
Yeah. That is taken from this idea. If you say, this is the basis for this idea. If you take, what is that? There's a beautiful combination to prove this. If the second lord is in the eighth, it is very good for wealth, whereas the eighth lord in the second is bad. Correct? Eighth lord in the second is one-time big loss of wealth. Those who have been, a lot of money with them, they lose it in a big way. Whereas second lord in the eighth, though Dushtana, it is very good because from the eighth, it looks back at its own house, second house. Okay. So when you read something, try your best to reason out why the Maharishi would have said that. Okay. But you must take a stance, like in priority, whom should we give priority to? See, somebody in the beginning spoke about nakshatra and prediction. Maharishi's Parashara's book not even mentions once nakshatra in this way, whereas nakshatras are used in Ashaka Varga. Samudaya Ashaka Varga, after Shodhya Pinda and all that, division by 27 will let you know, which star, when a planet transits death of the father, mother, brother, sister, like that, or auspicious things will happen. All that is nakshatra based. So in the regular reading, we normally should resist from bringing in the nakshatra. But in case you know KP system, and some Nadi systems, etc., you can keep an eye on it and use it for the stack-up method. But don't make complete statements based on nakshatra. It will dilute the subject. Pavani, you are there tomorrow's class also. You can ask tomorrow. I'm tired. I have to go. Okay. Yeah. So, as usual, Prahlad does the countdown.
T minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You make it sound like rocket launching.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We'll meet again. I hope you had something to as a takeaway today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to end the session.
Yes.